What is up, Gorilla Nation, and welcome back to another Division 2 build video. But if you would be so kind, please show some love to that like button. Also, smash that sub button if you happen to be new to the channel, and don't forget to reach up there, trigger that bell, and turn on post notifications, so that way you never miss a live stream or a video that is uploaded. Well, it's been a long time coming, and I do apologize for the delay. All those that commented on the first part of the raid, the Iron Horse raid guide that I put out, they were asking what build I was using. And I was going to go ahead and get that out, and like I said, I apologize for the delay, but this is it. I'm going to go ahead and send you over to some more gameplay of the Iron Horse raid of me utilizing this build, and we'll see you guys and gals back here in just a moment. Heavy down. What I would give her armor kit. Get that backpack. Gotta burn him. Get that backpack. Get them bars. Get that backpack. Rushing straight underneath you, Zeke. I got him. Oh shit, I got a heavy that came out on me over here, Zeke. Shit, he just smacked me. My side over here at the bowl. Oh, I got another NPC. I'm about to die. About to go down. I'm good. I had to, there was another bridge that came out. Heavy down. Alright, welcome back. And as you can see from the gameplay footage, you can wipe out the heavies, the grenaders, and the NPCs pretty quickly. And also, I want to make a reference that you do not have to have a fully optimized DPS build if you're running a DPS build in the first part of the raid, as long as you have something adequate and decent. Now, I'm going to show you multiple variations and differences in this build video as far as, you know, different choices that you can so choose make. It all just depends on your personal preference. So now on to the build. I'm using two pieces of yaw gear. Yaw gear is predominantly found in conflict caches and in the dark zone. Now, this used to have the Hollow Man mask. The name Yaw Gear Mask used to go with hazard protection as an attribute role, but they took that off and replaced that with 10% damage to health. It is good to note that as far when it comes to heavies that do not have armor bars, the damage to health is multiplicative, and it actually works out really, really nicely against them. And anything that does not have an armor bar, it works out really well and dishes out tons of extra damage. So for the crit damage that I'm missing on my particular rolls, I make up for it with the health damage, because after you rip off their armor, for me it seems like they get stronger and their accuracy gets more pinpoint the weaker that they get. So this way the health damage helps me dispatch them a lot faster. It has a mediocre roll as far as when it comes to armor. But it does have that health damage, and then I put crit chance and the attributes, and then crit chance as the mod slot. The second piece of yaw gear gives you 5% weapon damage. Another mediocre roll, so with those two max rolls, I would have 1 million armor. But unfortunately, the RNG gods just hate me, so beggars can't be choosers. With crit damage, crit chance, and more crit damage in the mod slot. In the video, it was my first go around, so I didn't know as far as my survivability because I was a TPS. So I did go with Unbreakable. But you can so choose to run anything else, and after playing it and noticing you don't really need the Unbreakable, but it could come in handy. It all just depends on your personal preference. That's why I went with extra damage with Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1%, 5 stacks and up to 15 times, so 15% extra weapon damage. And I was using the Bullet King, so that way I never have to reload. So the crit chance and the crit damage works out really, really well with the Obliterate. But if you don't want the 5% weapon damage by the second piece of yaw gear, you can easily add a little more health damage just by going with a Walker Harris, and this is the actual chest piece that I was using, and it has Unbreakable on it. And that would give me an additional 5% damage to health. It just all depends on your personal preference. I still haven't found a great one that has Obliterate on it. So far, as you can see, the RNG definitely hates me because this is the best one that's dropped for me, even farming into the Walker Harris loot-specific zone. And as you can see, poor, mediocre weapon damage. Crit chance is alright, but it came with status effects. So, beggars can't be. I'll test it out and try out both, but it all depends on your personal preference. Now, also, I went with 2 Walker Harris. That gives you 5% weapon damage and 5% damage to armor. This backpack is, like I said, RNG hates me. But you can get an additional 5% more weapon damage with a better roll, and your numbers will reflect that. So keep that in mind. So some of you out there might have some similar setup, and you might comment in the comment section, how come your crit damage is so low? Well, that's because, son, that RNG hates me, and I do not get good rolls on pieces no matter how much I farm. So hopefully, those of you that like commenting those type things, that will probably answer your question right there. If your RNG is better and you have better pieces with better rolls, your numbers will reflect that. This has weapon damage, crit damage, weapon handling, which is, of course, I'd rather have additional crit chance on there, and then, of course, crit hit damage in the mod slot. The second piece, max weapon damage, 5.4% crit hit chance, and a minuscule 9.8 critical hit damage in the second piece. Now, also, it's good to note, you can use the Coyote mask here in place of the Yagir mask. As you can see here, from the distance that I was at, I would be getting an additional 25% crit hit chance and 10 critical hit damage. But when you weigh in that 10% damage to health, you actually get more damage from the 10% damage to health against the heavies than that 25% critical hit damage. So that is good to keep in mind. And of course, the holster, 13.6% weapon damage, 10% critical hit damage, and 6% critical hit chance. Now on to the weaponry. There you go with the Bullet King. And then whatever you want to choose, as far as I like the infantry MG5, 95.8 with unhinged just because of the rate of fire. And of course, there's that damage to armor. But you could go with the RPK here, 122.4, the M249B, 123.3. You could, since you dispatch those NPCs pretty fast, you could just go with the likes of preservation on an LMG. That would also further help your survivability. Now, I am running the gunner because the gunner will help out me generating ammo, so that way I don't have to leave the ashtray in that spot where you've seen in the gameplay to run down and get ammo really frequently, since I'm going to be going through a lot using that Bullet King. So I generate extra ammo with utilizing the gunner, and also it helps the teammates that are on my side generate ammo as well. Now, of course, you go with the Reviver Hive and drone or the turret to help you, give the extra damage. The drone here can distract them and they'll start shooting at it. So that way, if you aren't using the likes of the Bullet King because you don't have it, then that while they're distracted by the drone, then that'll give you time to reload, so that way they're not shooting at you. Sidearm, future perfect weapon kills grant +1 skill tier for 15 seconds. Weapon kills at skill tier 5 grant overcharge. Stacks up to 3 times. Now on to the stats themselves. That is with the Bullet King, 54.7, 96.8. See, where's that damage to armor stat? I guess I passed it up. Armor damage, 18% damage to armor, 10% damage to health. So that damage is that multiplicative. So I'm dishing out and eating and shredding their armor. And then once I get into their health pool, I get that additional damage and less multiplicative damage going into their health pool as well. And that damage goes directly into those heavies, so that way you can dispatch them a lot faster. And of course, both come into play and work out well, synergize together when just dispatching those purples and golds that also come out that keep flanking you. While you're in cover, I do have composure on my backpack because predominantly you will always be in cover. So that will always be up. And that's an additional 15% weapon damage there. There's my stats and armor. And if you want to go a little tankier, then by all means you can go with more blues, go 3 and 3. If you want more DPS, you can go 5 and 1 or 6 reds, or it's whatever your personal preference is, so keep that in mind as well. And then I have 18.6% hazard protection, so at least I have a little bit. And 25% revive armor. But there you go, and there you have it. So I hope I answered your questions as far as the build that I was actually running in the first part of the raid, DPS wise, on day 1. And it just, like I said, goes to show that you don't have to have a fully optimized build in order to work out well within that raid. It's just a matter of teamwork, placement, and knowing what you're doing. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate all the love and support. We'll see you pledging later.